Welcome to Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic, an LGBTQ plus friendly, all ages, uncensored, pro-science and anti-fascist reading since 2004. I'm here with my co-host and dear friend, Morgan Paige, and she will also be our featured reader for this evening. Also here under a strange assumed name is Tony Limbrazo Luna, my wife and also co-host for many years of the series, recently stepped away from it. We are happy to have all of you here. I would like to invite everybody to make a lot of noise for the poets. Please stay muted while people are reading, but after they read, if you want to let them know how much you loved it, unmute yourself and make a lot of noise because it's really weird to have that deadly silence. I asked Morgan if there was anything special that I could do to help her commemorate this event of her first feature with us at Ghost Town Poetry. And she asked me if I would read some Walt Whitman. Whitman, along with Allen Ginsberg, one of the poets that made me want to be and become a poet. So happy to do this for Morgan. Give me a moment. I'm going to share my screen with you now. Many years before social media, Walt Whitman understood the power of the image. At a time when photography was very new, I think he had something like 130 photographs taken of himself. And here's one of my favorite ones. Whitman and a very fake butterfly, but you know, people probably didn't really realize that was fake. I'm sure they thought it was real. So Morgan asked me if I would read to you from Song of Myself. So here is section 20 from that beautiful long poem by Walt Whitman. Who goes there? Hankering, gross, mystical, nude. How is it I extract strength from the beef I eat? What is a man anyhow? What am I? What are you? All I mark as my own, you shall offset it with your own, else it were time lost listening to me. I do not snivel that snivel the world over, that monster vacuums, and the ground but wallow and filth. Whimpering and truckling fold with powders for invalids, conformity goes to the fourth removed. I wear my hat as I please, indoors or out. Why should I pray? Why should I venerate and be ceremonious? Having pried through the strata, analyzed to a hair, counseled with doctors and calculated close, I find no sweeter fat than sticks to my bones. In all people I see myself, none more and not one a barley corn less, and the good or bad I say of myself, I say of them. I know I am solid and sound. To me, the converging objects of the universe perpetually flow. All are written to me, and I must get what the writing means. I know I am deathless. I know this orbit of mine cannot be swept by a carpenter's compass. I know I shall not pass like a child's carlicue cut with a burnt stick at night. I know I am august. I do not trouble my spirit to vindicate itself or be understood. I see that the elementary laws never apologize. I reckon I behave no prouder than the level I plant my house by, after all. I exist as I am. That is enough. If no other in the world be aware, I sit content. And if each and all be aware, I sit content. One world is aware, and by far the largest to me, and that is myself. And whether I come to my own today, or in 10,000 or 10 million years, I can cheerfully take it now, or with equal cheerfulness I can wait. My foothold is tenoned and mortised in granite. I laugh at what you call dissolution, and I know the amplitude of time. That's for you, Morgan.
Woo, 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 woo.
Nicely read, Chris.
Yeah.
If you want to have the full body experience, try to read yourself some Walt Whitman, Song of Myself, or anything. You will feel it and take over your person. I am going to be introducing our first couple of readers. I'm going to get my my list here so I know what I'm doing. Just give me a second. Okay, and the first person that will be reading from tonight at Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic is Michaela Gallup. Please give her a warm welcome.
All right.
Hey, well, it's always fun to follow up Walt Whitman, but this is called Because of Winn-Dixie. Because of Winn-Dixie came out in February, but you waited until the drive-in had it as a double feature. So we piled into the van with bed sheets and citronella oil during the early days of summer, when the sun going down just means the mosquitoes coming out, and the Milky Way is postcard perfect when you're far enough from town. You slammed the car door shut like you did all things, with too much force to afford the incaution. My brother flickered beside me, his face wider than the pull down, and I screamed before he did because we've always pretended to be twins, and I swear I could feel his fingers fracture before I saw his limp hand in the crack of the doorframe. You twisted Cherry Twizzlers into an apology, let him sit on our mother's lap and soak his hand in a Route 44 of crushed ice without telling him to suck it up with the last of the Dr. Pepper. Our red 40-watt Hollywood smiles illuminated the rest of the night's reel, wanting to stain the slides with sepia-toned sentiment and slip them back into place before you noticed they were cracked. You asked why I didn't cry at the end of the movie, laughed when I said I was as tough as the soles of my feet and that the dog came back anyway. You said I'd understand when I was old enough to have a mistake tree of my own and see regret reflected on the hanging bottles like a projector. I said we could start one in the backyard if you switched from cans to glass. You didn't answer, but we still stayed through the end of the credits to get our dollar's worth. I replayed this to myself a few summers later when you set my brother to cut his own switches from the still, undecorated cedar trees behind the barn and said your father had done the same to you. I wonder if he also took you to the drive-in and turned up the stereo to hear past the snoring from the back seat. I wonder if he ever cried at movies where the dog didn't die.
Wow, that's awesome. So good.
That ending.
Good.
Yes, absolutely. Keep it going for Michaela Gallup. I've heard a bit of her work the last few weeks, and I got to say, I'm so excited just to be introduced to you, Michaela, and just phenomenal work coming out. So thank you for sharing and starting us out tonight. And thank you all for being here. We have a full house in each of our respective living rooms or offices or kitchens or beds or wherever you may be joining us from tonight. Next, I'd love to introduce our good friend, Bruce Hall. Bruce, welcome to the Zoom stage, Ghost Town stage.
Thank you for fixing the mic there, Scott. I really appreciate that.
You got it. Anytime.
Yeah, great. This is called Kindness. Out of the kindness of their hearts, they only shot him 8 times 4, divided by infinity times. The paramedics looked at 1 quart, 2 quarts, 3 quarts, maybe 4, but the coroner arrived and announced it could not be much more than 5 quarts. Puddling next to the curb marked, dump no oil, drains to stream. The fish will live today, but he will not. Out of the kindness of their hearts, the protesters threw back cocktails, pre-function drinking, only using Bota bags to hold gasoline. Measure the wick twice, cut the wick just right. Flick that bick once, flick that bick twice, flick that bick thrice and throw. What an arm, hit a home run. What a night, what a day. Cocktails to destroy the liver, cocktails to destroy the town. While somewhere a pickup truck cruises, plays country western music. Out of the kindness of their hearts comes love, hope, justice, and Thompson submachine guns. No MAC-10s with linear clips. Thompson round clips, round and round. The magazine rolls round, rolls out empty cartridges, carcasses into the street, on the curb. The curb marked, dump no oil, drains to stream. Barrel lead falling there, no barrel lead making it into the water. Brassy brass carcasses shining on the old brown blood, barrel lead adding new red pools. The paramedics look at quarts, and the coroner arrives and announces it cannot be more than 5 quarts per body.
Nicely done.
Thank you, Bruce. Good stuff.
Oh, good, really good.
Before this reading series had a name, we had that tagline of all ages and uncensored. I take both parts of that really seriously. We've always had young people as a part of this reading, and we always will. And we've always had mothers and parents who are an important part of our community. And it's really my pleasure to introduce for the first time a young lady, I believe is reading for the first time, definitely for us for the first time. Say hello to Clara, everybody.
Hi, Clara.
Croissants by Clara Boswell. Warm pastries formed by dough. Refrigerator keeps them frozen in the tastes of time. Hours later, you take them out, roll the slender dough pizza, find the brown cookies, hide them in a delicious treasure chest, and place them in a burning pastry machine. I bite into the moon crescent, the center of your creativity. The crispy bread once dough, now being eaten by us. The end. The end of the croissant
Thumbs
story.
up, dude.
Really nice.
Beautifully read, Clara. Well done.
I want a
Yay.
bite.
I can't stop making happy faces. I can't make a little serious face like you guys are making a smiley face.
Clara, would you like to introduce that very special person sitting next to you?
Oh, she just exited, sorry.
No,
oh,
I'm
this
talking
person.
about your
Oh, this
mom.
woman.
That person, yeah.
This is Mama. She's my mama. That's what the croissant room is for. Because look, for Mama. And
Right.
Mama's alive, and she's my mama, and she's gonna read next. Yay.
All right. Joanne Boswell, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, so this is a funny story. I was reading a wonderful chapbook by our December feature and my friend Rebecca Smolin, who's here tonight, which is lovely. And she has this gorgeous poem about her mother. And I read it, and just like a good narcissist, I thought, I wonder if my kids will ever write a beautiful poem about me. And it was kind of funny because I know Clara writes, and I thought it was silly and she probably would, but it made me want to write a poem called In Case My Kids Never Write Poetry About Me. That's the title. And so I wrote it. My kids don't know. And then the next week I'm making croissants and Clara runs over to write that poem. So that's the story. In case my kids never write poetry about me. Mama's hips so smooth, gripped in denim squeezed, glitter glide bump to slide, measuring cup drawer, satisfyingly snap closed. Simultaneously, she drops 3 golden seeds, rattle-tea tat, tin pan, popper, prepping hot oil. She slips another hand out to slice butter, while twisting water to rinse our lunch debris and clatter suds splash the rack now overloaded. She produces more arms as her lady-powered pop, pop, ping playlist matches her whirling rhythmic step, stomp, step, then spills all magic nuclei as she sweeps the handle, spiraling a comet around the pop. An orchestra erupts, deafening. Her balance so tight with fingers all flying for various perfections of order as chaos consumes, her left lip held up with secret delight. We clamber on counter, bowls outstretched. Oh, mama, mother, dearest. Our pleases assuaged when her brief as lightning amusement strikes silly, and those endless limbs toss salted perfect puffs. Her laugh is nearly demonic while this rain pelts all over, pitter, patter, plunk, floor, scatter. Such storm of good humor we embrace before the sun burns her out to blistered husk.
Yay, hooray!
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful stuff and inspired by Rebecca Smolin. I mean, no doubt. That's beautiful. And thank you so much to Clara for joining us at the Ghost Town open mic, all ages and uncensored since 2004. That made my heart happy. I think that made all of our hearts happy. And oh my gosh, yeah, what a beautiful piece too, Joanne. Yes, yes, yes. So next we're going to hear from Robin Oakman. Welcome to the Ghost Town stage, Robin. Welcome.
Hi, Morgan. I just remember you and I sat together the first time I came, and I didn't know who you were, or we just had a lovely evening together, and and now here we are.
Here we are. Thank you for that memory. That's beautiful. I think I wrote that name.
Backseat traveler. Morning rush hour in Washington, D.C. Summer of 1957, and I am 6 years old. Just to set the scene, as a child, I always traveled in the back seat, like that Daisy lady, except she was old. Now I know what I did not know then, that even though your family lives in a spanking new LA suburb, risen out of an orange grove, and your father is a civil servant, your mother an English teacher, and all the kids on your newly born street play outside, catch bees in their hands, ride their bikes, play catch and run in the sprinklers, splash and swim in the pools in the hood. And even if this is the way it seemed to be when you actually lived through it, and all the pieces of the puzzle fit nicely together, like a portrait of Ozzie and Harriet that we assumed was what everyone's life looked like, and wasn't it cool that we looked like them? So now I am oldish and I dye my hair purple, sort of a riff on a book I bought but never read. I received a Facebook message from someone that I guess I used to know, with the lowdown on our 50th high school reunion, which led me to open a large suitcase of memories I've been dragging around for a lifetime. Memories of all my travels in the back seat, back then in the 50s and 60s, living Hollywood adjacent, going through those Ozzie and Harriet motions while all the time we should have known better. I kept loading up that suitcase, never knowing why. It always seemed so heavy. I finally reached a turning point, like a hairpin turn in the mountains of Colorado, which I had witnessed as a tiny backseat traveler. I realized that I must open this fucking suitcase and once and for all figure out why it is so heavy, though it doesn't seem that full. When I had always been so careful to put only the tip of the iceberg of each thing I put in there. What I'm trying to say here is that the things I put in the suitcase weren't that big when I put them in there. So I said to myself, let's just Marie Kondo the heck out of this suitcase. If it doesn't give me joy, I will donate it or throw it away. No, I'll throw it away. No need to put that heavy shit on someone just trying to get by and shopping at Goodwill. They didn't ask for that. They don't deserve that. Can't you see that? Can't you see them? Can't you feel their pain? Don't you see it in their eyes? You must understand that their hearts and souls are broken. Tomorrow is a fucking question mark. A question, a yes or no question. A future that will be, I'd like you to meet my friend, or you would have loved my friend. But I digress, or do I? Maybe this chaos is just the new order. Stupid, the new smart. Sick, the new well. Fat, the new skinny. Up, the new down. In, the new out. Or maybe it's the other way around. Bottom line, stuff is fucked up. Really fucked up. Well, that's a start, an introduction of sorts. The backseat traveler and stories gathered along the way. I'll get back to that Washington, D.C. rush hour soon. Stay tuned. I'm going to introduce you to our next reader. I'd like to introduce you to my friend Arlene Arnold, who didn't know she was a poet until I told her. Arlene has a business called transformationaltools.com, and she does amazing work with color therapy and teaching techniques to break unwanted bonds we have all been gathering in our suitcases during our lives. In the years since my original draft of the poem I just read, I have been able to break free of much of the pain associated with its message. Maybe she can help you too. Arlene.
Thank you, Robin. Mine is a very short poem, and it's called The Awesome Fragrance of Light. Light pours in. Your senses signal changes in reality. You are ready for that change. What do you smell? Do you recognize the fragrance of unique frequencies of light? The fragrance of flowers comes in with your breath. Yet around you, the signs of winter hang on. Can you experience multi-frequencies coming to your senses without confining them to a time frame? What if you simply notice and allow? Your breath brings you to this experience. Let the mind flow with the breath, curiously noticing without the need to know why or how. Be present with the breath in the whole body experience. That is the richness that telegraphs love in and through the body. Oh, how much more there is to this present moment.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Right,
Beautiful.
Arlene.
Wonderful. Beautiful.
Thank you, Arlene. So glad
Thank you.
you're here with us. I hope you're having a good time.
I am. Thank you.
And now I have the extreme pleasure of introducing my wife, Tony Lambrazo Luna. Speak to the peoples, Tony.
Yeah, Tony.
Woo, Tony.
Yeah.
I see she's trying to unmute herself, so let's give her a sec here. You're looking for that microphone icon. Angelo for the assist.
There you go.
Oh, hello.
What's up, everyone?
Hi, Tony.
Hey,
Hi,
Hey,
Hey,
Angelo.
What's
Angelo.
up, Angelo?
I need the young folks to help me figure out technology, you know. Okay. Hey, Morgan.
Hi, Tony. I miss you so much.
I miss you and I love you. And
I
here's
love you.
And here's a poem that I wrote called Morgan's Wings. Of silken hair and generous heart, of spirit and song, light and joy, what wonders do you hold in your hands? What poems sit gently in your heart? Do they wait like gifts to cross your lips? Morgan, of family love and open sky, what birds sing for you in morning light? Which sunsets wait for your encouragement to adorn the sky? Morgan, of endless love, we await your dance on rays of light from sun and moon. You are somewhere along a journey, one unique to you, open to wonder, and still in the middle of birthing new days of deep thought, self-love, all with an open heart. Morgan, I wonder if you know the beauty we see when you fly overhead, wings open in bright colors, as your lips flutter joyous poems, and we are left in your wake singing. Morgan, I smile knowing the future holds more for you than any one of us can imagine. And who among us doubts your gifts and the safety we feel in your smile? Morgan, this is your time. The trees in bloom, the warm sun, and the songs of birds waiting for you to arrive with the light of each morning. You, daughter, sister, friend, spark of joy, twin of another, voice of wonder. Sorry, I almost lost the page. Voice of wonder, woman of power, keeper of hearts, seeker of truths, lover of pets and lost people. Friend of many, ray of bright light, a gift to me over the years. I spent a long life nurturing those who possess that sparkle, the light that glows in them on dark nights, the beacon that reaches others in a moment of despair. You hold that light, always eager to let it shine on others in need. Morgan, I have no wisdom or gifts to inspire you beyond the one of admiration. And in these words, to encourage your heart to light the path you seek. Remember, be open to ideas, even the ones that scare you. All you seek will arrive in time. Let yourself dance while you wait, sing while you dream, and love with the unguarded instincts of the child that has always lived within your heart. I love you, Morgan.
Wow.
Tony, what are you trying to
Bill.
do?
It's all crying over here.
Wow.
You gotta do a feed
trying
now.
Awesome.
It's not about me and I'm crying.
I'm crying.
Amazing.
Same here.
I love you, Morgan.
Tony, you just show up here and you just make us all cry. I love it so much. How did I get so
I'd like
lucky?
to say, so you could probably, you have a moment to collect yourself, you know? Yeah, you can even, yeah. What can you say about somebody like Morgan? I can say a lot, but I'm going to try to keep it as brief as possible because that poem is amazing and I probably should have just let it stay there, but I can't. I have to say a few things about my friend Morgan. She's a poet, she's a painter, she's a business owner, and a poet in the schools. An amazing, incredible woman who, when I first met her, was a student at WSUV. And the things that she's done since then, you know, some of us, we could have a few lifetimes, we wouldn't do all the things that she's done in and for this community. When her book, Lick the Psychic, came out, I was among the people who were happy to help her celebrate that book. And I was very happy to give her a blurb for the book. And I thought that might be a really good way to introduce her tonight. So here's what I wrote. And if you buy a copy of Lick the Psychic, you can read this on the book itself. It has been a long time since an emerging poet has exploded on the scene with such joy and excitement. Morgan Paige slings words with the unbridled energy of a preacher overcome by the power of poetry. Her work is alive with a love for the potential contained in our language. She is not afraid to push the music of our everyday vernacular to its limits. Morgan's work rocks with a lyrical, psychedelic fury and a serious attempt to save humanity from itself. Are you ready to fall in love with poetry again? Open up and let her take you on a transcendent ride. Please welcome our good friend and such an important part of this Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic community, Morgan Paige, our featured reader tonight. We love you, Morgan.
Yes.
Oh, how the hell did I get so lucky though? I walked into the writing center at WSUV. Little did I know my whole life would change. Christopher Luna sitting there editing papers, and I had an assignment to go in to get a paper looked at and edited. And he just, you know, I read him a poem, I think, and then he slipped me this flyer of Ghost Town. And I just, you know what, I went after a couple months, I showed up. I was scared shitless to read. There was no possibility of me getting on the mic. There was no I grew up so shy. I was always that person in, presenting that was just like shaking, wanting to vomit. And Chris just, like he does with everyone, hands out, lets everybody know what he's doing, where he's doing it. Come join him. That's the fucking happening, right? He brings the people together, and him and Tony both. I feel so blessed, to have spent the last 5, 6, 7 years now, I think, really, as, family to this community. So I love you both so much, Tony. That was too much, and I miss you, and I cannot wait to hug you. And Christopher, you know how I feel about you. Okay. So like, I love you all too. Thanks for showing up. I am going to read some poetry tonight. I have 5 poems that are somewhat shorter-ish, and then 1 long poem, which you guys all know how I love those long ones, those stream of consciousness long ones. So I got one for you. Yeah, here goes. And yes, it's hard to like see everybody that's here, but I do also want to acknowledge my brother and my sister Jessica and my niece and nephew. They're all tuning in under Chloe Hutchinson's phone. And I'm so glad that they're here too, joining us. My family rarely gets to see me perform. So I love you guys so much, and thanks for being here, or there and here. Anyway, it's all about expanding. Poetry can be anything and everything. Christopher Luna. What are you hungry for? So what are you hungry for then? Limbs rich with pheromones, euphonic birch water dripping antioxidants onto lips of sapling dawns, sanctioned by the sunrise, calling out to insect honeydew. And what of your thirst for sweat glands dripping with hymns? Again, a dramatic rhetoric, the living room a church, silver-tongued tunes for the service, the bed an altar for the sacred, the stained glass headboard for the light. And who the fuck starts religions these days anyway? Between saliva and the blades of an expanding fern, a swelling stretch, facing the apex of the frond in devout study. We see truth in every tooth and tail, truth in every sword and spore. We see truth in every stipe and body, truth in every vein and door. And what of the ghosts breezing through the corridor of your subconscious? And what of the impulse of the earth's lure to the moon? And what of this appetite? And what of the appetite of this flesh? What of this prodding hunger? And what of this obedience to the past?
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Hungry for more.
Spring's lyric. Spring's lyric perches on the naked branch of a magnolia tree, near upright ivory and butter blonde flowers, disarmed by a dilute and worn evening sky. I attempt to capture the sun's timely ballad through a salted lens, a stirring composition, giving its day to every lowered beam on the forefront of the shadowed hills, only to have them rise again soon somewhere else, on someone else's suffering. The innocent magnolia fades deeper into the sober and brooding dusk as the moon and I rise and wane.
Yes.
Awesome.
This next one is called Existentialism. And other than the word here, All words in this poem use only letters found in the word existentialism. I'm going to actually share my screen on this one. I'd like you guys to see this one. Oh, host disabled screen sharing. Would you mind enabling that, Mr. Christopher Luna? Is he still with us?
I'm still here. Sorry about that. I do have amazing powers over all of you right now, but you should be able to share your screen now. I apologize for that.
Oh, hey, you're all good. You're all good. Thank you so much. All right. Here is a talisman, here is a titan, here is an ailment, here is a timeline, here animist, here set line, here is an estimate, here is a slant, here is an inmate, here is a saint, here is timeless, tameless talent, here is seismal, nameless extent. Here is enamel, here is intimate, here is seminal, here is existent, here is mental, initial missiles, here it nestles, settles, aligns, here is limit, here is listen, here is mantle, here is salt, here is smile, here is ease, here is smitten, here is tease. Here is sense, here is steam, here is tint, here is sin, here is title, here is time, here is stem, here is mate, here is saline, here is taste, here is test, here is tilt, here is tea, here is tit, here is sane, sans, lament, here is sex, tail, here is set, sail, here is axis, here is exit, here is satin, here is sea.
Oh my God.
That was amazing.
That was a fun one.
Great poem, Morgan.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
All from the one word existentialism. Who knew?
You did.
What's up, Rose?
Sorry, I said you knew.
This one's untitled. To explain the space in between, we lean on things. Turns out, not even empty space is nothing. Turns out, it shapes everything. So if something makes up nothing and empty equals full, the empty space may be explained only when the mind is still.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna check my time here real quick. I think I set that up here. No, I didn't. So I've got one more shorter poem for you and then a chanting rhyme. This one's called Desire. To understand the limitations of things, desire them. Lao Tzu. 1. The desire to disrupt routine is more of a cognitive process than a thing, a motivational salience into a dream. It seems to want to erupt, to instruct the mesolimbic pathway, to propel a satiated nerve. I felt it coming, I heard it calling. Rewind, I recall consummation across lifetimes. 2. The dopamine connection directs chemicals, protects the primal, elevates the signal, erects enthusiasm, dissects orgasms, fathoms impulsive passion. Fasten your seatbelt now, loosen the chains. 3. It is inscribed in the quest to address every reflection as it comes, undress the lesson as it's shown, slowly or suddenly or eagerly or patiently, and there's always attraction and mystery. And absent the history, rampant the flow. The larger the appetite, the more dramatic the show. The farther away the balance, the hunger inside, it grows. Thank you. This feels so good to just be reading poems and to be in this digital realm even with each one of you. And I'm gonna put it on gallery view real quick just to say what's up to your faces. What's up, Zach Wolk? Hi.
What's up?
I'm so happy you're here. Yes, yes. And Igor, and who else is here? We've got so many. Thank you guys all for showing up. I feel alive. Hey, Heather, is that my sister, Heather? You're here. She just showed up. Oh my gosh. And my brother-in-law, Matthew. Okay. I'm so excited. I'm clearly like overwhelmed with excitement. And often I am just about life in general, and especially about poetry and learning about and learning through poetry, learning about myself and life and everything around me, learning about my family, learning about nature, learning about friendship, learning about love. It's all through poetry, and poetry is life. So I'm blessed to have the community that I have, the family I have, and a gift that I'm excited to give away for the rest of my life. All right, this one's a long one, and it's untitled. It'll be my final poem tonight to share with you guys, and I love you all and thank you. And now the woman's warmed up. Mushrooms in her cup, the brim has touched its rounded copper finish. We are distinguished, thickish, somewhat greenish, refinished, Lilith, high linguistics. Yes, we are optimistic witches. We howl into drums, some rung loud, some shout proud, overcome now, tongue tuned to spring equinox. We are in the backwoods, bandwidth sapwood, stars amidst dramatics, meteors panoramic. We are grammatically taking notes. We write, we choke, we post up on the rocks. Give more fucks for the folly, for the luck, for the flames burning our smut, our jokes, our spokes of life on a wild ride. And I'm done taking sides. I want to meet you in the middle, near the river's temporary ripple. It's a topological terrain of psychological behavior. It's nature too, it's simple. Thoughts are unmerciful, and in their tidal waves we meddle. Title them fateful, hateful, headful of sinful whistles. Head full of sinful whistles, but thistles grow flowers too, and those that want a rose must respect what its thorns do. Prick. Wakeful hours, grateful lovers, swivel from the thistle to the soft petal of the sexual perennial, vine together like annuals, florets from spikes of frightening jumps, from the psyche to solid ground, from the junk to the banging loud. We are subspecies of chanting canines. Our packs work as one to confront the sunk brunt of ego. Our credo rises, comprising not of polarized accessory. In our lungs bark an honest family. Our jowls wide open now among the potent oaks. Invoke a new slogan. Speak to trees often, softly without a word. Hear the blackbirds too and their verbs. Asserted to sit, met with cedar wood lips. Its exhale licks its grip on presence. This interdependence has a tendency to teach acceptance, an essential weapon through an entrance to an environmental cadence of the one true existence, a fragrance hanging now of an aura, an aromatic ambrosial memory. Are you with me? It's spicy, sweet, and savory. This bouquet of thicket, of timber, of bare grove, of mycelium ground cover, we've arrived again at the end of the beginning. Cup full to the brim and overflowing. This pitch of human keeps kindling to prime the dive, the drive to live, to thrive on moments, lit as lumens, wild as wolf, free as woman.
Woo!
Yeah, that was so good.
Awesome.
Encore.
Thanks, Morgan.
Thank you for listening, and thank
Awesome.
you for having me, Chris and Tony. And I love you guys.
We love you too. That was a great set. Thank you so much. And thank you to Morgan's family for being here. I get really emotional around people, you know, families showing up for poets, because I know there are a lot of poets out there who, you know, their family either doesn't understand what they're doing or just not really into it, or don't show up for readings and things like that. So it means a lot to me that that we have some Hutchinsons in the house tonight. Thank you for coming in and supporting Morgan. That means a lot to her and to us. Next, we're going to welcome someone who's been a part of this community for quite a long time, Robin Moore. Please welcome Robin to the open mic.
I'm not sure how I'm supposed to follow Morgan. I was afraid you were going to have me come after her. Oh.
We love you, Robin.
Cushion. In this blasé, live for the moment world, their love seems corny. They say good morning with a kiss, hold hands at night when they watch TV. Their daughter rolls her eyes, disdains her parents' old-fashioned virtues, not understanding the woven strands of the upholstery of their love. Hold on. Cushion her. Give her a jumping off point into a world rejecting corny.
Thank you, Robin.
Thanks, Rob.
And next, we really hope that that we can hear him. I've seen him bop in and out here. We're going to hear from Jim Martin. You here with us, Jim? I see your name on the list. I hope that I hope we can do this. You're gonna have to unmute yourself, Jim.
There he is.
Just gonna give him a second. Hopefully, you can figure it out. And oh, did we lose him?
Yeah, he's not showing up on my screen.
Okay.
There are two screens. He's on.
Yeah,
my
it looks like he's
screen.
frozen.
I see a face and the mute is off, but yeah, it looks maybe it froze.
Well, if Jim makes it back in, one of us, me or Morgan, will introduce him later. Yeah, we'll get him in here. So, okay. It looks like I'm handing it over to you, Morgan, and we'll just pay attention. And if we get Jim back, we'll give him a shot. You know.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. I hope he's able to come back online with us. And next, we're going to hear from Matt Eiford Schroeder. Welcome to the Ghost Town stage, Matt.
Thank you. That was such a wonderful feature. I couldn't be happier. So this is called the epistemology lesson in gold panning with a nod to Bukowski. Find a map of a place with a history of those who found it before you. Gold is heavy, so it sinks. Work backwards from slow-moving water, then and now. The gods will offer you chances. Know them, take them. Centuries of rain spread a rock around the world. The inside of a bank, behind a rock or an eddy. Dig off the overburden, down to the black sands, put through a sluice box. Calibrate the flow of water with what's by the bank to a speed to simulate the result that you want, that the river was doing long before you got here. Don't sweep away the shine that you can take to someone else who will believe it is worth something too. Just remove enough of what is in between your eye when you swirl it in a pan. It shines whether it's in direct light or not. It's heavy, non-magnetic, and it doesn't react. The gold you miss never reveals itself to you to announce how much further you had to dig, up or down, to the left or to the right. Or if in your impatience, you ran the water over it too fast and you pushed it back down to where you found it. It just stays in the ground and you don't know how poor you are.
Nice.
Love that piece, Matt. I'm always happy when you show up. I think we all are, you know what I mean? It's always great to hear from you. So, and thanks for the Bukowski nod. Beautiful. Next, we're going to hear from Joshua Nillis. Joshua, welcome to the Ghost Town stage, if you are with us.
I was just looking, Morgan. I'm not sure whether Joshua made it in, but Joshua, if you are here, speak up quickly. If Joshua is here, he's here under an assumed name.
So if Joshua shows up, we can add him to the list as well if Joshua shows up. And I think I actually looked at my list wrong. I thought that Bethany Lee was next, but actually it's Erin Aurelia. So Erin Aurelia, you are up if you have one to read, and we would love to hear from you. And then also maybe we could see if Jim is back here. I don't see Jim.
No,
I
it's
just
dark.
Yeah, let's hear from Erin and then we'll see if we can get Jim after that. That sound okay?
Beautiful. Welcome to the Ghost Town stage, Erin Aurelia.
Thank you, Morgan. So excited for you for your feature tonight, and what an amazing set you brought us. And I'm so glad that I found Ghost Town and met Christopher and met Tony and met you and Scott and Joanne and so many of you here, Robin and Bruce and Jim. It's just it's a great little family, and so getting to celebrate one of our own is sort of feels like celebrating all of us. So I love it. And the one I want to share, this actually came up in my Facebook memories. It was just about a year ago that Morgan was celebrating the, I think, 5th anniversary of your business downtown, High End.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got together before that and had a smoking weed and writing poetry session. And I wrote this when I was with her, and I read this for her event that was just about a year ago the other week. It was like one of the last events we got to have before all the shutdowns happened. And so this one I wrote, and I read it for Morgan. It's called Into the Green. Shut up and smoke. Shut up and write. So much to say with so many words. Thoughts and feelings unraveled by resonance, unraveled by weed, unraveled by the need to untie these knots, whether to unloose stress or unleash storms, I can't tell. Smoke rings like wax rings, stopping up jars filled with the scars inflicted by those who were supposed to care, yet whose empty eyes only stare through, unable to see me. Ash falls like time, like bonds coming untied, falling free from the ancestral tree while spitting out the seeds lest they seek the deep, take root and take form, lest they perform the same tired dance again of searing contempt in the relentless rain and spill over into fresh flesh. Better instead to light the match and burn it down. Set it on fire, aspire to conspire to retire the form that's imprisoned us for so long and has dictated our fate that can only be sated by more sacrifice of blood and bone. Get stoned instead. Get out of your head and purge its contents like upending a bowl. Shake loose the crumbs, not yet the full sum of your thoughts, overwrought with the mental adhesive we use to persuade us that the horrors we endure don't break us, don't take us into the maws of death. Let the old story die. Let the old structure fall. Decommission each brick in its duplicitous walls so they fall on their sword and admit their fault in rendering the gestalt of our world mute and tall, stalled out and overshadowing all that would feed us. Let instead the open green fields enfold us, mold us into new forms to consider, new stories to inhabit, new songs to weave into the cosmic weft of what our timeless souls can paint on our skins. Thank you for listening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you do that.
Absolutely love that, Aaron. Yes, I got chills. I remember writing with you that night, and I remember, yeah, I mean, that whole 5-year anniversary of High End last year was amazing. I got, Christopher to read and you, and we had live music, and it was phenomenal. And for somebody who doesn't even really smoke very often like that, just, like got chills. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Thank you. And next we're going to hear from Eileen Elliott, who just came out with a book recently called Pobrecitos. And it's a beautiful book. And I'm really honored to welcome Eileen Elliott to the stage.
Thank you very much. And that was just absolutely beautiful reading, Morgan. Thank you so much. Appreciated it. I'm going to read something tonight that was written by a poet who is new to me, and it's because this is National Women's History Month, I think, or something like that. And I love this poem because it's such a strong woman who just speaks to all ages of womanhood, and so I wanted to share it. Her name is Aurelia Mountain Dreamer. And here's the poem. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals or have become shriveled and closed in fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful. Be realistic. Remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithful and if you can be faultless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it's not pretty every day, and if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me what you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments.
All right, let's hear it for Eileen.
Nicely read.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Eileen's new book is called Pobrecitos and is available now. And Eileen will be our special guest next month for National Poetry Month on April 8th. So if you can join us for Ghost Town next month, you'll get to hear some poems from that great book with some amazing illustrations from two local young artists from Vancouver School of Arts and Academics. It's a really amazing book, and I'm really proud that we're going to have this opportunity to help Eileen get the word out about the book next month. And anything you want to say about the book or about your feature next month, Eileen?
Well, I'm going to be adding some other materials, a little dip here and there, and talk a little bit about a couple other projects that are coming up as well. But thank you so much for the kind words about Pobrecitos. I do hope people will take a look at it, because those wonderful young women who did the illustrations made my words dance with their pictures, and I appreciate that so very much. So thank you for all of your support, the whole community, and particularly the basic crew, the roadies. Okay, thanks.
And on a personal note, people have been coming to Ghost Town for a while know that Eileen is one of our oldest friends here in the community, and just want to say thank you to Eileen on behalf of me and Tony for bringing by some food and things that helped us out since Tony hurt herself. It's really been very helpful. She's a true neighbor and true friend. So I appreciate you, Eileen. And now we're going to have somebody who's been coming. I think the first time that I saw this poet was at Cover to Cover in its second location over there on St. James, and he very quickly became an essential part of this poet community. Please say hello to our friend Ian Caton.
In the tie-dye.
Yeah.
Rocking the tie-dye.
Play the synth for us, Ian.
No, not tonight. Hey, I'm going to read something from our Ross Gay. He's actually reading tonight at Literary Arts. And if you have $250, you could buy a ticket to go hear Ross Gay read at Literary Arts. Or you could listen tonight, and I'll read a little bit right now. So instead of spending $250, I think Chris Luna's asking for $5. So let's try to everybody kick him some little bit of scratch for hosting this show.
Thank you.
Anyways, this is called Beholden, and it's one poem that's like 98 pages long. So it's something I think Morgan would like it, because it's one of those epic poems. And I'm just gonna randomly pick somewhere in the middle. The poem's about Dr. J and how Ross Gay reflects on Dr. J, how Ross, how Dr. J transcends basketball, transcends everything. So here we go. I'll pick it up right here on page page 54. And I'm gonna hit my timer, so I'm gonna read for about 3 minutes. Okay, there we go. Their slow light snapped by one of the handful of photographers kneeling in prayer at the baseline. This, remember, before the ESPN era, which, yes, there was a before too. And inside of that flash where Doc nearly disappears, the airborne body becomes so quick, the absence the light makes. I so badly want the flash. I want the light, like a virus blinding the screen, and the flight in it to be a window or a door, which right now I will point you to, a real door in a real photograph. I found looking through the WPA agricultural photos at the Library of Congress for my great-grandfather as a young man, a sharecropper in Osceola, Arkansas, with hands like a hummingbird's who could fill his sacks, kind of quick plus a bit more to sell on the side, which in the parlance of the day, the same parlance as ours, incidentally, in which you can own stolen land, in which you can become very wealthy owning stolen land, which all owned land is, stolen goods, hot goods, the hot earth, which earth had been bequeathed as property, as heritable wealth, though the meek shall first inherit the heat, but the land, the cotton, the unshared crop, let's Heron call it what it is, loot, plain and simple, which too my great-grandfather's body was, loot, and his life, loot. His life was theirs, like the crop, like the land, they could be, they have been thrown overboard for the insurance, breathe, let's breathe, was left, which is to say, it was his life. He was stealing, steal away, and caught my great-grandfather was, made to quickly theorize both flight and disappearance by carving with a sickle a crude window into a man who mistook him for a door he could open and close at will. Yes, we come from poets. Steal away, and he stepped through that window by sitting on the sill and lifting first one leg into his chest, and like that looked for a moment as though he was resting. How I wish he could rest as though he was just a young man enjoying the day, looking upon the family of oaks near the road, their limbs always like arms to him, the shadows the leaves cast in the long grass like thousands and thousands of perched birds waiting, closing his eyes and breathing in the gentle breeze, slowly circling and gathering in little eddies at his neck, which he was not, because he could be killed for anything, but he did look quickly behind him into this rotten house, the beams sagging with must, the plaster dripping in sticky stacks of flesh, before twisting his name, Frank Jennings, into a wick he lit and tossed, burning inside the house while pulling his other leg through, gathering up what he had just been cargo, but had just been loot thrown overboard for the insurance. Breathe, his body, his life, gathering himself up into his thin arms, turning toward the unknown and stealing away. And in the photograph I found and am holding, here's the picture. That's the picture of the book too.
Thank you, Ian.
Be holding, guys.
I put a link to the book if anybody would like to pick up a copy of this book by Ross Gay. Thanks, Ian. That was awesome.
I picked it up at, where did I pick it up? At the big bookstore.
Okay.
On Powell's, the big Powell's bookstore.
A little place called Powell's you might have heard of. Hey, Jim Martin, we can see that you've been having some technical difficulties, but since I can see your face right now, do you want to try to turn on your mic and see if you can read a poem to us? And then I'm going to give Bethany a heads up because she'll be on deck, okay? Jim, you want to try to read us a poem? You there, Jim? I can still see him. I can't hear him yet.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
Oh.
But it doesn't look to be muted, which is the strange part.
No, it doesn't.
He's got wind-up connection, I think.
Right. Now I can see him. Jim, try to do a sound check if you can. Oh,
I can't see him.
He's on the fifth row over, second to the bottom.
I think it's going to look different on different people's screens. But thanks for the help.
Oh, there, now he popped in.
Jim, I'll try to send a message to Jim, and we'll work out something. Even if someone's going to pinch read or something, you know what I mean? We'll get him in here. Okay, let's hear from Bethany Lee, and thank you for your patience, Bethany. We're really happy to hear another one of your poems. I really appreciate your work. Bethany Lee, everybody.
Thanks, Christopher. It's no problem at all. I had a really busy day, so I had to run a bunch of things, so this is chill and great, just to be able to go with the flow. I am going to put a link to my first book in the chat. I just got proofs today for my second, and I don't want the older to be jealous of the younger, so so I have to give the first book a little bit of love here.
Like a good mom.
Yeah.
Of two.
A good mom of two, exactly. Everything that I have written lately that I have loved has been in one of Rebecca Smollen's workshops, and this poem is no exception. So she should put links to those workshops in the chat as well, because they are super awesome. She's amazing, making space for the things to come through that need to come through. This piece is called After the Burning. There's an epigraph from Stephen J. Pine. Cape lilies lie dormant until flames brush away the covering, then blossom almost overnight. Fireweed seed lies in litter and soil until liberated by a deep burn. Such plants are true pyrophytes, fire lovers. Survival depends on the predictable return of flame. We never find out what they were called, Job's 10 lost children. All we get are some of the names of the replacement set in a rare moment in history when the girls are acknowledged and the men are anonymous. Jemima, Keziah, Karen Happick. It is said they were very beautiful, as if that makes it okay the others were still dead. And what of that I cannot bear to name, the loss I cannot relinquish. I refuse to set it down, must not let it rest, or I may be faced with who I have become now that I'm mostly whole. How can I carry on into a land where there is not even a scrap of what would have been to comfort me? It is a cold journey through that desert to where I may someday dwell, and many nights I would turn back if I was not with each step setting the land aflame. That day in the church, I was given the choice to attend to loss, return toward joy. Having had enough of pain's company, I chose to look joy straight in the face, and in that moment every feature was the twin of griefs. I think I finally understand why they free climb El Capitan, why the base jumpers throw themselves from the brink. There at the edge are grief and joy together. There in the falling is being alive and knowing it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bethany. I know you're going to put a link out. What's the name of the new book that's coming out?
The new book is Etude for Belonging.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks to Bethany. And next, we're going to hear from Sue Lick. Welcome, Sue Lick, to the Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic.
Hi, thank you. All right. This one's fairly short. True story from Newport, Oregon. The Green Cross Man. I almost crashed my car when I saw him in his green marijuana patterned suit, dancing and waving his Get Weed Here sign. This is the guy who sits in the second row, black suit and tie, crisp white shirt, rosary beads always in his hand. Sometimes he brings a little girl, golden-haired in princess frocks, arms crossed in angry, hating church. This week a woman, a queen-sized ponytailed earth mother, sat between him and the girl. She didn't match. As he knelt so straight, so reverently, I wondered about his too-tanned face. Who was he? What brought him here? Then I saw him on 15th Street doing his happy ganja dance. He waved and I waved back. Sunday we were in church again. He in his black wool suit and tie, me here on my piano bench. Thank you.
That was awesome. Very nice.
Then I think he got busted, but oh well.
Sorry about the dead air. You there, Morgan?
Yeah, I am. I am looking at the list here and
Uh-oh, I can't hear you suddenly.
oh, I'm sorry. I just muted myself. I had to run upstairs real quick, so I'm looking at the list right now, but I thought maybe you were going to introduce Rebecca.
We heard, oh, yes, thank you. That was a mistake. We were supposed to introduce Rebecca. So, hello, Rebecca Smolin.
Sorry.
Yes, Beck has a great recently published book from the Poetry Box called Excoriation. She was a feature of ours not too long ago. And thank you, Morgan. I almost missed Rebecca, and we're very happy she's here. So, Becca Smolin, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you. You can miss me anytime, though. I won't get mad, I promise. I'm going to read a poem that I've been working on recently. This one is called A Difference. A friend who grew up in Brooklyn in the 80s, a son of Colombian immigrants, looks into a picture of my kids at a park, muddy and smiling. He says this picture doesn't make sense to him, says he's envious. I take a new look, wonder if it's of their smiles or how carefree they look. He says it's their blindness, describes what he worried at their age, worried of his image, of his safety, his hunger. He says he doesn't remember a playground or playing outside at all, remembers spending hours at the library until his parents got home from work, remembers not being allowed in puddles or near dirt as there might be needles, cannot recall grass. I leave the picture out as his eyes have transfixed, but know he's no longer here. He tells me that his space was a corner of the living room, slept on a couch where he had dreams of fighting over a ham sandwich, tells me as a kid for fun he read the Times, would run to his window where there was a crash 6 floors below. His dad would call out in a heavy accent from the other window, "Mijo, it's a good one. I think someone's dead." Thank you.
Wow.
Beautiful stuff, Rebecca. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I'm gonna check out your workshops. I'm like, wait, where have I been all of this time? What I'm super excited. Well, I've been at the work for one, you know what I mean, with Chris Luna, but I haven't, you know, I'm excited to check out what you got going and participate.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Thank you, Morgan. Your work is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Yes, next we're going to hear from our great friend, Scott Yeager, all the way now from Eugene, Oregon. Scott Yeager.
We love you, Scott. Fix the mic.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, Morgan, and awesome reading that you gave tonight. So awesome. I wish we could have done it in person, but then again, I'm no longer in Vancouver, so there's small blessings in all this. This is a poem I wrote recently. On the other end of the string, there's a tin can or a tiny vibrating membrane excited by light over miles of fiber optic, your voice a series of blinks, encoded and decoded, broadcast to my headphones. I discern speech in the static, cosmic background noise, the ethereal bleed as we say goodnight. Thanks.
Great, Scott.
Thank you so much, Scott. Yes, small little blessings. Yes, love that piece too. Next, we're going to hear from Igor Brezhnev, who is, yes, founder of Lightship Press and founder of a beautiful series in Word Lights, poetry. Now he is actually writing for, well, let him tell you about it. Here's Igor Brezhnev. Love you. Welcome.
Hey, Igor. Awesome.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Igor! Challenger to Bruce's beard.
It's going to take a little while longer before I am a true challenger. But yeah, thank you for welcoming Morgan. It was a great feature. Y'all should check out Morgan's book, Lick the Psychic. It was an absolute honor to participate in publishing and making it happen. And I absolutely adore Morgan's style. I've written a few pieces after Morgan over the years now, so that's a lot of fun. Yeah, Lightship Press published that book. It is right now on hold, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that. Eventually, we are going to come from that hold and publish more poetry books. I enjoy that process immensely. And eventually, Word Lights is going to come back. Hopefully, don't know how, don't know when. Meanwhile, I started doing something with Nailed Magazine. I've been interviewing poets over email and asking them to send me a few poems in audio and so forth. And it's been an enriching experience. I'm slowly reaching out to people and asking them about their kitchen of poetry, about what happens, what does it mean to them, all of those interesting questions. So that's been neat. The first episode came out last month. It's every last Sunday of the month so far, and I've shared a couple of links there. Myself, I've been writing. I mean, that's the one thing I can do. I'm going to read a piece. I love mixing languages, being bilingual. I love grabbing from other languages, and this one is grabbing a concept that doesn't really exist in English, but exists in French. It's called l'appel. L'appel du vide in crossing of a street. Step off into the traffic, and they stop. They do. Then later, somewhere else, l'appel of leaving, as if these calls are on a seesaw, these fallen petals glistening with rain in someone else's eyes, a tin can telephone. You hear, unruly children of my psyche, march hare mad, listen to the hail, how it assaults the soil and barely blossom trees. Merde, darlings, c'est un terrible jeu de bute. How can you stand it? How do your eyes not roll back and mocking la petite? Don't say it. Whites of eyes flirting with trembling fence of black eyelashes, tongue pushing against the teeth, soft prisoner of bone, escaping almost past the lips to taste the air or thunder that just rung, and it passes. All that remains is the mundane, worn c'est la vie, as though we would say as often c'est l'amour when the flowers die. So that was one of the poems that I've written recently. I write every day. I made myself do that this year as well. If you like the things that I write, you can find me on Patreon. I post a poem a day there. and it helps incredibly to have support of the people on that platform. Pays for me to be still alive. So thank you all. I love the fact that Morgan's cats show up in the background. It's like living in the Matrix. You know, I keep thinking, is that the same cat or a different one? Moving back. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you all. It's good to be here.
You're welcome. Glad you're here, Igor.
Yes.
Loved it.
Thank
Say a
you
little
so
more.
so much, Eiford.
Yeah.
Buy his books. He has books. He put links. Read his stuff. But yes, support. Most importantly, support the living poets, because the dead ones don't need it. Okay, like the living poets do, and this is something my friend Igor always says. So thanks so much for being here. And yeah, next we're gonna hear from Rose Ram. Rose, welcome to the Ghost Town open mic stage.
Thank you. So this poem that I'm going to read is called What the? And I think I'm stealing from someone, but I can't remember who. So if you know, tell me who I'm stealing from right now. I want to say it's Allen Ginsberg, but I don't know. So, what the ever-loving dream time, what the sonic resistance, what the nation embroiled, unseamed, inept, what the basket woven loosely, what the tick-tock time machine stilted, what the mouse linger intricately wondering, equity, planning, yellow ticket under the bus seat, overcast hardiness, lengthy luggage labels, Sandinista sand in my eye, simple syrup, swallowing sugar cubes, strange times in the Wayback Machine, negligee catching romance snags like lace filing off the parachute, and tying strings to kites with snowmen dripping their burning hearts, and loosening shoelaces over the bridge of life and death. Go Hades! Nothing comes up short. Everyone comes up long. I see a gleaming corporate place, pretty in a downtown real estate shiny way. I only want a loaf of bread, sir. Wove paper flowers for my trouble. And when someone says they love you, maybe they'll stick around. But maybe just swing the hingy kitchen door left and right and over. Open me, close me, add to me, take from me. See the light in my sunrise warm cup, the fruit in my evening cozy cup. Take me to the library, sunshine all around, gleaming like a cop light through the windows of my mind and being. What's to say there are no mice? Who's to assess the cockroach trail? Someone licks an ice cream cone. Zombie wakes up from the dead. I'd like her to be an angel where everyone gets a snick, and feathery, sick sweetness melts me down, 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 to go down, 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 where icicles melt on porches, impaling the snowman right in the eye. Nobody owes me bankruptcy. Nothing costs the healing froth of fish on the line cut. Relatives on holidays. Oh, fuck, it's a holiday and grandma needs a biscuit. Declining overall, same pan of same food every year, saved up, exhausted and miserable. But a light taps me on the shoulder, a fire licks me on the chin, a match dares ignite itself, the biscuit bun in the oven crisps up. What the timesheet, what the thundercat, what the sewing notion, what the something stupid, what the atom bomb, what the sky socket, what the loose noose, what the labels stitching to the thing, what the neighbors melting, what the lonely sky crying, what the simple dancing, what the judges pounding gavels on my heart, owing nothing to their verdict, scribing only a runaway weekend, talking to their fear directly, as if someone took a biscuit out and therefore I owe you solace. What the national treasure, what the sip of tea, the cavernous heart of Gandhi's sensuality. We are alive today, loves. We need not ever hold back. When Stalin lifts a curtain, or Reagan lifts a finger, Henry VIII lifts a chin, we look to you for leisure, we look to you for sins. Encampments jumping hopscotch, ribbons, lace, and trims. We needle over thread loops, we scissor, razor, rule, we climb the staircase ladder to place the adjunct tool. Blood simmers on the stovetop. It models in the hall. It blinds the night relief watch, vibrates the horse's stall. And Mousie peeks out here too. She listens to hay. She strips the tune up from the car, seizes another day. She lives to lumber round the cornice, and lightning takes a fix, stomps her little mouse foot, takes command of her own tricks. People think she's a fool and small-minded too. Chorus master healing the tail stub of the newt. She's seen everything, owes not to anyone, licks the candle flame, sears her name to breasts of golden tungsten. Mouse fire lights the hallway.
Did everybody lose sound or just me?
Yeah, you went mute.
Lost it too.
Yeah, me too.
Rose, can you hear us or?
Ride Pegasus to the sun, moon, and Hades.
Oh.
Ride Pegasus to sun, moon, and Hades. For what was white is now black.
Okay, so that was beautiful, Rose. We lost the end of that. Would you mind rereading like the last, at least maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds, or?
Sure.
We lost you at some point just there towards the end.
Yeah, we were with you. We'd love to hear how it ends.
Oh, we still can't hear you. Can you hear us, Rose?
Of her own tricks. People think she's a fool and small-minded too. Chorus master healing the tail stub of the newt. She's seen everything, owes not to anyone, licks the candle flame, sears her name to breasts of golden tungsten. Mouse fire lights the hallway, sizzles tasties on the grill. We weave a mighty basket bed to dream straight up the hill. An evening's fornication, a morning's dew delight, a nation bursting sovereign hands all raised in fists of night. We lie in state this even, in case someone gets some flack. Ride Pegasus to the sun, moon, and Hades, for what was white is now black.
Word.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rose. Just some really phenomenal stuff right there. Just always bringing it. Always. Thanks so much for being here. And now we're going to introduce your Zoom partner here, Eric Christensen, sitting right next to you. So welcome.
Eric.
This is called Learning Curve. When your plane touches down and the van winds you through the stretches of Georgia pines and its doors open onto the finally dry autumn air, I will see you with my own eyes, not camera ones, for the first time. And still there will be our masks for a moment to protect us from the plague that was let spread by the indifference of high office, but which allow us to live another day, to love another day. And the vast, strange spaces of a continent that kept us apart will collapse into arms encircling. My nerves crackle sharp energy, so much is riding on this. I want to be the best of everything for you, your most skillful lover, your most luscious cook, your most attentive reader, your co-conspirator in the revolution, your wisest guru confessor, and the mirror that beams back your beauty to you if you should forget it. Which maybe nobody can be all of, so the love that yearns is also a love that wounds. But now I don't think I should worry. I think we will be each other's greatest lovers as we linger to learn the lessons our bodies have to teach each other. I will take long, languorous time to explore the curves of your hips, the shadowed pockets where skin and sinew meet, the softs and firms of your breasts, the fine bones of your face and chest and your most intimate ravines, the places that hairs grow and the places that they do not, noting the touches that make you thrill and those that you flinch from, the places on your back and feet that release some of the burden, the flavors and the smells of you where my face glides across your gleaming skin, feeling the texture of your swirling rain cloud hair and basking in the sun of your smile, until I know the whys and the wherefores of you, the special places of the flesh, the same way I've sought to know the vibrance of your soul and the rhythms of your words from so far away. When your presence here collapses the Cartesian distance between our shared minds and lonely bodies, I will become the apprentice of your joy, that what I want to spend my whole life learning.
Yes.
Nice.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff, Eric. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for showing up and bringing that beautiful, beautiful poem. Jim, I wanted to know if you're out there and would like to read us a poem. If we can hear you now, I want to call on Jim one more time and give him an opportunity if he's with us. I'm looking for him right now. And Jim, we were having trouble just hearing you, even though I know that you're not muted. So I'm not sure if you're having a connection problem, but can you hear us? Yes? Nope, still not hearing you, Jim. Well, I'm not sure. I think we will go to our next reader, and we'll have to reach out and try to help you if we can with the microphone, because we'd love to hear from you, Jim. You're one of our faves, and yeah, I think you're just having some connectivity issues. And we are sorry for that. That is one of the downsides of meeting virtually. But I'd love to introduce my friend, my good friend, Zachary Wolk, who has never read for Ghost Town. And he is here, and he's out of Portland, and he is an activity demon as well. Christopher Luna and I love those activity demons. He's out there repping Shady Pines Radio, and they're doing a lot of cool stuff. Soon to be at Earth Space PDX, a collective that just opened up over in Portland. And Zachary Wolk, welcome to the Ghost Town stage for the first time. Everybody, yeah, give a warm welcome, please.
Welcome, Zachary. How are you? Shady Pines in the house.
Well, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Hi, everybody. Hi, Ghost Town Poetry. I am here because it's Morgan's feature, and what a beautiful feature it was. Thank you again, Morgan. And the reputation of a Christopher Luna precedes my meeting him, but yeah, I hear nothing but nonstop praise for Christopher Luna. And through Aaron Aurelia, I've gotten to know the flavor and the style of the Ghost Town poets a little bit. Seems like a legacy that you guys are carrying forward, and so it's an honor to be here and read some old writing here for you today. So this is a piece called Colorblind. The man with spiral eyes denies himself the chance at the spectrum of color. The world is pure. The mind is always free until you stop it from being so. The man was a boy who began on the ground, saw everything as shadow, but never heard a sound. He was raised by the apes to love the world with no mistake, but the rainbow was illegible and the raindrops instant fakes. The bond orgy that followed optical pleasure was admitted to the child in the form of a critical lecture. See, the measure of the mind is mostly disagreement, but those that do not know it can neither hear nor see it. The boy was colorblind. He really wanted to see the likes he had heard about from little boys who loved the color blue, in the sky, in the waters, in the iris. He learned his disability made him special, but he wanted to be normal. He wanted to be able, and I want him to come true. He does too, but he could only be free when he could see the rainbow. He resigned himself when he was told that it would have to be a miracle. He locked himself in a cage for the fear of ignorant slavery, and he cried himself to sleep with gray tears splattering on the sedimentary. It was a long time. Past had passed. He was wakened by the craft that knew of him and flew to him for help, not for attack. They told him of a cure, one that could fix his eyes, because in the sea within the industry, there lies your greatest prize. Their lies are your greatest prize. Your greatest price, their lies. Your greatest prize, their lies. He weighed his options, he weighed himself, it weighed on his conscience until he waded through, till logic grabbed him at the neck and said, hey man, fuck you. You wanna see, you gotta see, man. Why can't you see that the prize that you need is in the sea, in the industry? In the sea? The boy asked as he saw what they offered. A ticket to heaven, miss love from a mother. He had to take it, so he did, because necessity is essential for the mind to ever win. So he flew towards his dream, toward the sign of industry, and not knowing what he had in store, it had in store for him, his mind was clearly clean. Memories of menships of red, green, orange, and yellow greeted him at a young age. Through the actions of hundreds, a hello was enough to turn the softness rough. Hardened at his spine and locked up his limbs, in his mind he was broken. The cure, the heal, the love, the meal. He got there and the building shone, but just a shape in his misminded stone. The smoke was inhaled like nails through the lungs they impaled him. But the fight was not done. He saw greed as it was, as it is, overexpanded, relied on as a part of religion. I shook my head as I looked down at him within my crystal ball. The boy had grown taller on the journey, a little bit older, a little bit wiser. Confusion had emptied with a hopeful reprisal. I joined him again as an idea and a friend to tell him it wasn't worth it. See, he is who he is in the end. But headstrong and stubborn, and will was too tough to break or to shake. He constrained me with mental mind cuffs. Awaken, taken to by the gleam. He made his way through the industry looking to see the color dream. He was plagued by colors that stood in his way, red doors to open, green slides to slide down, purple steps to climb, but his world was total gray. But when he finally did make his way to the end, there was a hole in the ground, a new world to pretend existed. So he took the plunge, jumped in by the feet, and he was in the waters. The water pulled him deep. The city of Atlantis, the island that sunk, it was surrounded by the factories and the industry to cover it up. But he was there now. His feet hit the ground and he started to walk around. Just then, he saw his cure there with crystal glass hair, a girl in all colors with a tendency for flair. She motioned him over. She pursed her thin lips. He had lived in a cave and had missed his first kiss. So he leaned into her closer. As the ground lowered from his feet, he began floating toward her toward him, until they met at the end of our story. He was able to see from that moment on, but the industry that surrounded him looked so fucking wrong that he apologized to the girl for the future about to happen. He took out a hammer and shattered her delicate hair. The colors in his mind did all then disappear. He was a man now, a man with dedication to himself, a man without color, a man with nobody else, but not a lonely man, because he's the man with the sign that took the ability to see colors but then lost his fucking mind. He broke down, for the colors were too vibrant and they blinded his eyes. The headache that shortly followed was the rope that tied him to the ground, and although he loved his lover, he had to cover his bluff that he was never blind of color, only love. And when he had it, he was tortured, for it was not of his nature. So he gave it back to Atlantis and made sure that he stayed pure. So for the rest of his life and for the rest of the night, think, what do I want? And is that all right? While I want to save her, the man in me doesn't. I wish I was wiser. And when the world wasn't enough, we made up dreams to coat her so we could continue to live. we make up our existence the way that I made up this. It's been such an honor to read a longer piece. And so thank you, Ghost Town Poets. And I do a poetry podcast every Wednesday evening at 10 p.m. on Shady Pines Radio. So if you want to submit your poems, your spoken word poems, thank you, Erin, submit them to sprpoetry@gmail.com and make sure that you include in that email a MP3 of your recording and whatever information, biographical and social media handles, so that I can announce them on the podcast, The Grove Family Hour, every Wednesday at 10 on Shady Pines Radio. Thank you for your time and your attention and your ears. I love you all. And I look forward to coming back and sharing some newer works. So thanks, Morgan, and thank you, Christopher, and thank you, Erin, and all of the rest of you Ghost Town Poets that I have yet to meet, but look forward to meeting soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Zachary. Let's give him a hand.
Woo! That was amazing. Yes. The visual too. Stunning. What a treat.
Much respect for Shady Pines. We'll be looking closely at everything that Zachary is up to in the future. And of course, welcome to return. I hope we see you here again. The people have spoken, and the people would like to hear another poem from my friend and our feature, Morgan Paige. So Morgan, why don't you close us out tonight with one more poem?
Yeah!
And I can't think of a better way to say goodnight.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that opportunity. I know that doesn't necessarily come around very often in this way. So I do want to give a little shout out to my book here, Lick the Psychic. It's a little book of chanting poems, chanting rhymes, put out by Lightship Press, edited by Christopher Luna. And it's only $13, so you can get it at morganpagepoetry.com. And I would love to send you a copy. So please support, again, support living poets. And I appreciate any of the support that I get. So, and I feel super loved, super seen tonight. I would like to read my acknowledgement here from the book. So just the first part of my acknowledgements. For the act of acknowledging, this fledgling pledges allegiance to familial roots, rich poetic communities, ingenuity, equality, sowing seeds, psychedelic dreams, Renaissance times, the coming of the feminine tide, the moon cycles, the human disciples failing forward, gazing sunward, the inward tour, experimental journey, exploration, regeneration through artistic demonstration, gathering friends, releasing shame, changing the story, night sky transforming us, light rays unifying trust, connection, tested faith, outer space, the bark elders, fresh water, fire hearth, earth shelter, to the swelter of wise owls, grounded snakes, shedding skin and growing stakes. Life path number 3, playful being, revolutionary acts, breathing freedom. Thank you.
Morgan.
Morgan.
And I appreciate and love all of you. Thank you so much. And thanks for showing up. I also really quickly just want to mention, if you would like to donate to the cause here, donate to Ghost Town Open Mic, you can follow the link in the email and donate. You know, we all know that this has so much value in our lives, and we appreciate any of the love that we receive there. So with a lot of gratitude.
Thanks, Morgan. Yeah, and I want to say thanks to Morgan and everybody who was here, everyone who read, and everyone who listened. And I also want to send out my love to Jim. Jim, we're going to figure out some way to make sure that you can be heard next time around. Unless you lean forward now and I can hear you say something. No, it doesn't seem like it, but we're going to work together to make it happen, okay? For next time. Thank you all for being here. And we'll see you next month, April 8th. Our featured reader is Eileen Elliott, author of Pobrecitos, Hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you all for your beautiful words and your energy. I appreciate you, and Morgan appreciates you. I know it. Thank you so much.
Christopher, thank you, Morgan.
Be well.
Night all. It's a great
Thank
night.
you, everybody.
Good to see you all.